So I understand that when I'm seen here, I'm perceived a certain way. So I am very much in the school of thought that I'm just going to be me,
Mm,
and me is good enough.
mm,
That I'm just going to do me, and you're going to understand that not all of us are the same. Like I have to understand that now all of you are the same. Now, if that shatters some of your reality, good. I'm very happy to do that, right? Because you're not just going to sit here and talk to me any kind of way. You're not going to sit here and talk to me and treat me any kind of way. I have words that I'm going to be prepared to use with you, and I speak your language.
Welcome to Show Your Receipts, where we believe if you can see it, you can be it. Receipts are evidence or proof that something has occurred. Our guests are evidence that Black excellence is alive and well. They will be sharing their receipts on how they've been able to accomplish so much in their life. I'm your host, Tony Jackson. Let's get started. Welcome to Show Your Receipts, where we believe if you can see it, you can be it. Our guest today, I'm extremely excited to interview this guest today. They have an incredible background. I'm going to read off a few things for you. This guest has an incredible story of both athletic performance and professional performance. In 2001, he was all Big Ten playing college football at the University of Iowa. He was all Big Ten in 2002. He was team MVP in 2003. He went on to start a real estate company and become a real estate professional. He was a 2016 Chicago Association Realtors top producer. He was 2016 Chicago's Agent Who's Who in Chicago in real estate. 2017 Chicago Agent Who's Who in real estate. 2017 top real estate producer. 2018 Chicago's Who's Who. 19 top real estate producer. 2020 top real estate producer. 2021 top real estate producer. 2022 top real estate producer. He was the vice president of the NFL Alumni Association, chairperson of the University of Iowa Football Advisory Committee, and he has an incredible brokerage that he owns right now that's focused on serving his patients. David prides himself on working fiercely for his clients while putting them at ease with his relaxed and friendly demeanor. And we have him here today. Welcome, David Porter.
Thanks for having me there.
It's exciting to have.
My goodness.
What's that?
I said, thanks for the introduction. You make me sound kind of amazing there. That's crazy.
Hey, you are kind of amazing. And, that we just want to hop into it. One of the key points of this podcast is to recognize Black excellence and recognize success. So much conversation about the things that are not right, but when you see somebody who's doing some amazing things, we just want to give the spotlight. I'm excited to have you, brother. I want to jump right into it because you're a real estate broker. I know a lot of people know what a real estate agent is, or at least have an idea of what they think a real estate agent is. Can you explain to me what a real estate broker is and what they do?
So now, we used to have this designation where it was a real estate agent and a real estate broker. In Illinois, we're just at real estate brokers. So you have brokers and then managing brokers.
Mm-hmm.
I took the next step and I became a managing broker, I think it's about 2 years ago. So the difference now is that opening up my own brokerage, having other brokers come work under me, being able to take and accept contracts to actually be the brokerage, there's a big difference there. So leading a team of different brokers, getting that systems and process together so that they can go out there and do what they need to do so we can transact big business with clientele that are doing, trading real estate is the best way to put it.
Awesome. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Specifically for your job and your position, what does a normal day look like for you? Like when you get started, what are you doing on a normal day?
Normal day, my goodness. So I'm doing more focus on the business, a little bit in the business, but more on the business now. So that comes with marketing, comes with sales and training, putting together operations manuals, making sure that we are in compliance, making sure that the team has the necessary tools that are necessary for them to do their job. right? Making sure their systems are up to speed and really staying up to date with the changing environment. Because in real estate, things just happen so quickly. Things are shifting, things are just moving so quickly. Sometimes it's really tough to keep up. So what I do is I try to keep up, put my finger on the pulse and say, okay, what's going on right now? What do we have coming up in the future? How can we best prepare and put ourselves in the right situation or position so that we can take advantage of all these opportunities that are going to be coming down the pipeline, right? With the changing environment, the market, I'm in the Midwest, I'm here in Chicago, winter's coming, right? We all know. So come November, Thanksgiving, everything pretty much comes to a screeching halt, right? We have things that go on here and there, but generally, like the hum of the business slows down to a slow roar, right? And then we're in here like, okay, this is my time to really dig in. But for me, I'm kind of doing that consistently throughout the year.
Okay. Awesome. This is an assumption, but I assume that different real estate companies specialize in different areas of the market. And it's been said that our compensation is based upon the problems that we solve. Specifically for your brokerage, what specific problems do you guys focus on solving for your clients?
Basically, everything and anything is more of a consultation that we do. When I'm looking at our clients, okay, when you transact business in the real estate, that's every 5 to 7 years, right? So I have that one opportunity to do this deal with you. Then I have a 5 to 7 year gap where we need to stay top of mind. So it becomes what resources can we provide to our clientele to make sure that their lives are much simpler, right? So if it's, God forbid, a divorce attorney, right? A CPA, if we're looking for someone that needs any kind of like health insurance, right? Financial planning, we do all that stuff too. We have people within our network that we refer out. Now, a big part of what we do is is built on trust, right? Now I'm up to the 3rd generation with this family. So I've 3 generations of a family before, right? Our uncle and the nephew. They utilize me and they refer me out to the friends and their other family members as well, right? So building that trust and making sure that you do what you say you're going to do, and really, as you put it so eloquently, eliminating the obstacles that are in their way so that they can transact the business and actually understand what they're doing. So a big part of this is not just communication, right? It's comprehension. So I understand their perspective and be able to communicate to them in their language in a way that they can best understand what I'm trying to convey to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a follow-up to that is to even dig deeper, what area of real estate, what kind of real estate properties does your brokerage specialize in? And if you do specialize in a specific kind of area or a specific kind of property, why do you specialize in that area and that property?
Well, it's kind of happenstance, right? It's not something I set out to do, but it's just naturally where I gravitated toward. We are mainly luxury when we're dealing with our clientele. We are downtown. I say downtown Chicago. We'll go as far north as Lakeview. I do Evanston here and there, but that's just few and far between. South Loop, that's really down to 26, which is Chinatown. And we go west to really the West Loop. I can go a little bit farther, like Tri-Tail area. But the density of the city of Chicago, it's just so much that there's really not a need to go outside of this with the condo that we deal with. I mean, you have one building that may have 1,000 units in it, right? So 1,000 units with the average sale price of like $400,000. That's okay. We can deal with that. And that's just one. As you know, downtown Chicago, there are a lot of high rises.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's keep going down that track a little bit. You mentioned some numbers. You mentioned some dollar numbers. So talk to me about, because a lot of people, at least for me growing up, when I thought about economic opportunity and dreaming big, it was sports. It was, for me, probably just sports. When I was thinking economic opportunity and dreaming big. Talk to me about the economic opportunity that comes with, selling these expensive high-rise units in a downtown metropolitan area, what kind of opportunities are available for a successful broker?
The opportunities are bountiful here. They're very, my goodness. So you can do quite well. Once you get your systems down, people get to know you, that your branding is where it needs to be. By branding, I mean what you do, right? Your branding is just what you do, period. So you get that established and people know who you are and you establish yourself, the money just kind of flows. Then that becomes the affluence part. Now, as far as the numbers go for what you're talking about, I have transactions about right now. I'm hovering right over 800,000 per deal, right? So that it just naturally went that way. I don't turn away any opportunities to do deals with anybody. So I still do, but my clientele that are referring me out just tend to naturally work in a certain demographic. Well, it's just yeah. So doctors, attorneys, you're talking about the professionals that work downtown, they live a certain way. There's a certain lifestyle that everyone lives. So there's an accepted way of being. Like this is just our normal, this is just normal for them. So
absolutely. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, compared to what I know you can make playing professional football, but the numbers in professional football and basketball are definitely higher. There's no doubt about that. But this is definitely a lot more consistent and more likely to make it here. As we know, playing football, a professional sport, you're the top 1% of the top 1% of guys that have done it. And as you go through those levels, professional, college, high school, each time you go up, even from grade school to high school to varsity, JV to varsity, the herd gets thinned, right? And that trimming. And then you go from, okay, hey, I'm an All-American in high school. Everything's great. I'm going to go to college and rock out. I'm going to be Billy Badass. And they're like, oh, wow. Everybody here was an All-American. Everybody here was all something, all state. It's like, wow, okay. Then we figure out who's who there. Then you get the all Big Ten, All-American, all those guys there, Heisman. Then you go to an NFL, and the herd gets thinned even more, because you're dealing with all the All-Americans from college, all the all Big Tens from college, all the NBA Heisman guys from college. You get the NFL, and it's not as easy to make it. The math is just somewhat ridiculous when you start doing it. And like the opportunities to actually play in NFL and stick on a team for 3.5, 4 years, right? Or NBA and make it on the team, be on that roster. The percentages are just not in your favor. It's actually, I think it's more advantageous. The numbers in your favor more to be a cardiologist, to be honest. All right. So you start looking at, wow, how does it really make sense to go down that path? Well, some people it does. I never want to shy anybody away from chasing their dream at all, right? Go for it. You get one chance to be young. You get one chance, and let's just say one chance to go play professional football. You can get a couple chances, but you get a short window in which you have to take advantage of, and you don't want to have regrets. This stuff is going to be here coming out, and God, hopefully you're getting your education while you're playing, right, in college, so that we are going to fall back on, like I did, which is great. Got really lucky in getting into real estate and figuring that out. But the numbers are what they are. You can have a really good life. It's not like I'm just like ultra rich or anything like that. I'm just living my life and having a good life, what I consider a good life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's dig into the skill set, because you talked about sports, and we can understand the skill set, you and me as former players, the skill set that's necessary to succeed in athletics. People know you got to be in the weight room, you got to be strong, you got to be fast, you got to be smart, you got to take care of your body, all that kind of stuff. What's the skills? What are the skills that are required to excel as a real estate agent, as a real estate broker?
So it's much of the same skill set you have. I mean, it's very translatable. The commitment to doing the work, actually the work, putting the process in place and following the process. When you hit a rough patch, right, you might slow down, but you just don't stop. The perseverance over the adversity. These are all, like, we'll call them catchphrases, but this is based in reality. character, right? All that stuff, right? Being where you say you're going to be. We know this is a big pet peeve of ours, like showing up on time, right? Being in communication. If you're not going to make it, let me know ahead of time if you're not going to make it.
Right.
It's crazy how many people actually just appreciate that because then people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple because this is just who I am. This is what I do. This is how I am. And it's because of breath of fresh air for a lot of people. So the nature out here, negotiations, that's, boy, you see them, I smile when I talk about negotiations. That's the competitive thing. Everybody's like, hey, I'm going to get that mental edge on you. It's almost like we're doing one-on-ones of football, right? Model. Here we go. Physical thing. This becomes a mental sparring, right? So I love that part. I really do.
Absolutely. So there's been a lot of topic and conversation these days about mental health and the importance of work-life balance. And I know there's a lot of people who oftentimes gravitate toward real estate because they have in their mind that I'll be able to set my own schedule. I can wake up when I want and go to sleep when I want. Talk to me about the work-life balance that comes along with being in real estate, and maybe also talk about some of the misconceptions of all of this free time and freedom that comes with being a real estate agent.
Oh, the free time misconception and being able to do whatever you want. That's just not a real thing. I mean, if you're really going to treat this as a business, that's exactly what it is. It's a business. You're coming in, you're doing the work, and you're doing the work every day. Real estate is nice on weekends, right? That's when you're interacting with the clients. With the clientele, they're working. You want them to, which is great, right? They're working throughout the day. So their free time is really after work and then on the weekends. That's when the see places. So it becomes, okay, what are you doing during the work day that is going to allow you to continue to get those kind of clients? That's where you're working on your business, right? So that is the systems, that's the operations, that is making sure all the documentation is in place. That's the marketing, right? That's having these, and then, hey, you still have a personal life you have to get in, squeeze in there somehow, some way. So in that balance can be somewhat tough in the beginning. Now this is kind of like football. And then like in that 85% of brokers that start out don't make it through their first 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a staggering number. So you get to like year 2, year 3, you've passed the hard part, but you still got more to go. You do. I mean, you're at the point where you're established, but you're still working hard.
Let's dig into that point right there. What is in your opinion, looking back, what's the differentiator between the people who make it past that 2 or 3 year mark and the people who fall off during that time period?
Well, the big difference is, and this is just anecdotal for me, right? When I'm looking at it, the people that have made it and been successful, they have a plan. They don't come in treating it as though they are going to come in and just make all this money out the bat. They come in and they're willing to work, and they have a plan and they work their plan. And no matter what happens, like the highs, the lows, I got a good deal or I lost this deal, they keep going, they keep working, they keep doing the work. And that's what's needed to be successful in this industry, and basically in any industry, right? You're going to have setbacks. Keep going. What is it? I forget who said it, but like, you're in the middle of hell. You walked halfway through. You're in the middle of hell. Why would you stop there? Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Going. You walked halfway. You already know that you don't want to go. Why would you go back? It's the same distance as go forward. Go forward. Yeah, keep going forward.
That's good. That's good. And so talk me through the process of becoming a real estate agent and a real estate broker. Are there tests that you have to take and pass? Is there certain certifications you have to have? Is there a certain amount of experience? Is there an apprenticeship program? How does that work?
Now, if you're going to become a real estate broker, there's 90 hours of classwork that you need to get done. Then you're taking the state exam and the national exam. They're married together, right? Again, not everybody passes. To me, that's one of the litmus tests. I'd say if you can't pass that test, well, good luck. It's not, I wouldn't call it especially difficult. It does have some tricky parts to it, but it's fairly straightforward. Then you get past that. Now it becomes, the real test. You've done all the classroom work. Can you actually sell out here? All right, that's the real test. Paperwork stuff, we'll call it the X's and O's. That's all good. That's great. That's great in the classroom. Now it comes time for you to come out here and actually walk it.
Absolutely.
Real big test. Can you actually walk it like you've been talking it for the last 90 hours or 2 weeks? Right? I want to see that. So I used to bring in a lot of young brokers and train them. Or you're talking about bringing them and apprenticeships and things like that, training them, which is great. And then they'll go off and do their own thing. That was actually what I expected them to do. Now I'm more interested in, okay, what do you bring to the table? What can you really do? How much can we actually help each other out? It's a similar relationship, right? It's one of the things coming in with these kids that are, and I keep calling them kids, but these young people that are coming in, they're just getting in the industry that don't understand the sacrifices that you've had to make to get to where you are. They and the bright eye, their bushy tail, and it's like, hey, this is a big party. Let's go. I'm like, no, we actually have to work. We have to work. That is a big mindset shift that needs to occur. And typically with the younger brokers or the newly minted brokers, that's a learning process that they need to go through.
Absolutely. You touched on the concept of sales. I know that some people, when they hear that word, their hearts start beating faster. They get nervous. The idea of sales. Some people, they get excited about the idea of sales. Talk to me about what your approach is to selling. How did you learn how to sell? Was it a class? Did you learn it in college? Was it a book you read? Did you have a coach or a mentor? So talk to me about the importance of selling and how you actually learn how to sell.
So sales it's an essential key for what I do, or day in and day out. I've learned to really do sales. Okay, starting in high school, my family owned or they still do own, a fireworks stand, and they like interact with people. That's what I did. Hey, let's sell these things. How do I move? All right, what works for you? What do you need? How can I help? All right, went away from that for a little bit, followed my dream of football. Got done with football, went into sales when I got out again. And that's when I was in selling construction supplies. Actually, at that point, safety supplies. Company named Northern Safety at the time. Came in, sales guy, moved up, got sales guy to Midwest manager, regional manager, something like that. Forget the title. And then, actually went from sales guy to vice president of a company in about 7 years.
Wow.
And that sales organizations is really about producing, right? What can you do to produce? Now, as far as what I learned a lot in corporate America. They taught me how to sell, right? And selling is not what a lot of people think. It's like, oh, I want to push them to make this deal happen. That's not what this is. Benefits and features. Hey, these are the benefits and features that I have to make your life easier. This is what I can do to help you. Do you choose to deal with this or not? That's how I sell. These are the benefits. Here are the features. This is what I do. This is how I do it. Does it work for you? All right, tell me about your operation. It does work for you. I know it does. And this is how I can actually make your life easier. Yeah. So learning that, I can't call it a trick, but learning that perspective of how to have empathy for your clients, what they're going through. Because as a sales guy, my job is to make their life easier, not for my life easier. All right. So I'm like, all right, what do I have in my toolbox to make your life easier so that you can do your job more efficiently and make more money? That's how I moved up so quickly. All right. Not only did I improve their productivity, I understood their business model. It's like, okay, great. These are the things that I can help institute for you, help save you money, increase productivity, and increase the bottom line for your entire organization, as well as keep you in better compliance, which is going to bring your insurance premiums down, the PTO, that's going to be reduced as well. Start talking about things other than the product that you're selling, right? Really understand what exactly they are dealing with holistically. Now, at that point, are you really selling or are you just being a consultant? So that's my perspective that I take to selling. It's like, oh, what are you dealing with? How can I take these things off of your plate and put my plate? Because I have a system in place that'll just eat this whole thing up and break it all down and make it very simple for you to do what you need to do. Because your job is not to be a professional real estate broker. That's my job. Your job is to pick a home you want to live in. My job is to tear it apart and see if that thing is worth you being there and actually buying it.
I see why you're the top real estate producer. So your perspective is more not a pushy salesperson, but more of a consultant, more of a person who's identifying the problems they have and coming alongside of them and saying, how can we fix this problem for you?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, my client, I was my client this past weekend. My clients become their friends, right? Because it really is, you get intertwined with their lives. What is going on in your life? All right, you're going through a situation. Okay, tell me about it. I've been through a lot of stuff. So tell me about it. Let me see if I have something that can help you. Now that requires them to be a little bit open, right? That vulnerability. In order for that to occur, they have to trust you. Right? So he comes to me with this issue. Hey, this is happening with my property. Really? Well, we had a whole warranty for that. Really? I don't remember that. Oh, no, it's in the contract. Here it is right here. Pull the contract right then and there. Here it is. Well, what do I do? Put them in touch with their attorney. Hey, it's Saturday night. It was after the Penn State game. Saturday night, texting the attorney. He texts right back in 5 minutes. Hey, give me a call Monday. We'll work through it. Yeah. That's that level of like, hey, trust. This is that level. Well, another way to put it is accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
Trouble for the things I say I'm going to do. And I know I'm going to be able to stand tall behind that stuff. And I hope that's just not what I do. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like me. So I go back and I'm like, that's not me. That's not what happened. All right. Yeah. And clients appreciate that.
Absolutely. Wow. So this is a very awesome interview because you're a person that I've known for a very long time, with us playing football at the University of Iowa together. And I always remember during our time at Iowa how mature you were. You know, it's like you were a grown man when we were like 19 to 20 years old. Just how you carried yourself and just even your approach to school. You've always been a person who took, even during the time in college, I felt like you took school as seriously as you took football. And so could you tell me about just your upbringing and the role that education played in your upbringing, and who were some of the influential people in your life to help you become who you are today?
Now, my mother and my brother were really big on like education. My mom especially. My mom was in the military for 34 years. She's buried in Arlington National Cemetery, right?
Wow.
So I was born in Germany, and we were literally just travel around every 2 to 3 years. I just got to see different parts of America and how people live and how people interact with each other. While I'm traveling around and seeing all these different ways of being, of living, I'm going to private Catholic school my entire life. The first public institution I attended was the University of Iowa.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a private Catholic school my entire life until then. So education, my mother was a big proponent of, and she didn't really care too much about football. As a matter of fact, she would rather I quit. Guy out there, she's like, don't hurt my baby. And everybody's like, he's the biggest guy out there. What do you mean? What is this? So, like, who's your baby? Number 75? Like, what? He's a monster.
By the way, for our viewers, you can't tell with the camera angles, but this guy is 6'7", and I don't know what he weighs now. He's an Abercrombie model now, but you used to be about 330 pounds, 320 pounds.
Yeah. Used to be a monster, right? When my mom was like, don't hurt my baby. That's what she was saying. But yeah, her main focus was education. That's why she sacrificed so that I could go to a private school. She's in the military, she's enlisted, she's a sergeant first class, right? It's not like she's making tons of money, she's doing all right. And as we all know, my mom, one of the first generation to get out of that cycle. Her mom before that, she was a maid.
Mm.
My mom was still giving back to her mom to try and make it, right? So for her to sacrifice a lot of things that she wanted to do so that educationally, I was getting my needs met. I'm a fairly bright guy, right? I got pushed really hard in school,
Mm.
right? They wanted to make sure that I learned what I needed to learn. And they didn't care where I came from. Either I met the standard or I didn't. That's just what it was. So I kept that mentality. I still have that mentality. I read books. I still play instruments. I'm learning 3 languages right now, right? Working through all this stuff of continually learning. As things like I've gotten to the point where I just don't stop learning. Now I slow down. I'm getting older, right? And I'm boy, all the time is unkind. I do that. But I do I continuously learn. So I've become a lifelong learner, and curiosity hasn't really stopped at all. I thought at one point, like, oh man, I got this all stuff. I'm all good. I've got this life figured out. That's just not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So many different nuances to things that I just find myself being more and more curious about things and what's going on, how things work and how things interact with each other. And when this interaction occurs, okay, what does that do? Like, wow, there's so many different things out here. It's almost like being a kid again, all over again, almost every day. So that being ingrained in me early on really helped set me up for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more. You being in the real estate industry and working in Chicago and having the success that you've had, some people on the outside looking in may have questions in regards to what does that look like as an African-American man? Have you ran across any unique challenges? Have you ran across any unique obstacles because of who you are and because of how you look?
Well, short answer is yes. Man, no matter where I go, right? I'm a 6'7" black man, and I just can't cover that up. No matter if I wanted to or not, it doesn't stop me, right? It doesn't stop me from being a black man. It doesn't stop those preconceived notions that people have of someone that looks like me, that dresses like me. I'm going to call it my ethnicity. I hate saying race. I feel about that term.
Yes.
But yeah, that I've been faced with some covert and overt racism. That's what it is, right? And it goes from both sides. I've had the majority. I've also had it from my own black people. But no matter what happens, my thing is I have to understand who I am. Now I understand that how they perceive me, but their perception is not how I perceive myself. And that's not based on reality. It's based on their past experiences. Right? Like, oh, I'm sorry you went through that. Yeah, look, this is going to be totally different for you. This might hurt your feelings a little bit, but I'm okay with that. Really? Yeah. So at a certain point, I got to, best way to put it, at a certain point, I got to a understanding that no matter what happened, no matter how other people saw me or perceived me or what they thought about me, whatever they said about me, however they treated me, it wasn't going to change what I did. Just wasn't. I've gone into some situations where I've been the only black person in a boardroom. Presentation, and a CEO of another company say, hey, I've never heard people speak like that. I've never heard people speak like that before. I'm like, what? Everybody I know that holds my position, which is vice president at the time, speaks the way I speak. I don't know any way to speak. This is just who I am. This is what I do. This is how I speak. As a matter of fact, my game's a little off today, but it happens, man. Like people, I'm 6'7", right? And I was like, well, obviously I'm not very intelligent. I can't be very bright. I'm not quick-witted. That's a lot of the preconceived notions that are out there
Mm.
of a person like myself. But then I was speaking to them, they're like, hold on, a little different. I'm like, why would you expect it not to be? I'm living in the same neighborhood as you're living in.
Right.
My kids go to the same school your kids go to.
Right.
Yeah, their entire lives. Yep. I've seen you on vacation. We summer together.
Right.
I'm looking, I'm like, what reality are you living in? Yeah.
Let me dig into that a little bit more. Have you ever felt, because obviously you are definitely one of the most intelligent people that I know, and obviously you specialize, you're real estate, you know your stuff. Have you ever felt like it was your responsibility, almost like you had to speak for the Black community? Like, have you ever felt that weight on your shoulders? Like, when you're going into a place and you're the only person there, and it may potentially be some judgment, like, man, I got to overcome these thoughts that they may have of me, and I'm almost a representative for all of these people.
Oh God. So that is an ever-present thought in the back of my mind, right? It's just one of those things where I know I live in a predominantly white neighborhood, right? The majority of people that are come here that are of color are visiting or they're coming here to work. That's the reality of my situation. So I understand that when I'm seen here, I'm perceived a certain way. So I am very much in the school of thought that I'm just going to be me.
Mm.
And me is good enough. That I'm just going to do me. And you're going to understand that not all of us are the same. Like I have to understand that now all of you are the same. Now, if that shatters some of your reality, good. I'm very happy to do that. Right? Because you're not just going to sit here and talk to me any kind of way. You're not going to sit here and talk to me and treat me any kind of way. I have words that I'm going to be prepared to use with you. And I speak your language. Sometimes you.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a good thing that I have the background that I have. It's a great thing that I am self-sufficient and that like I can stand on my own 2 feet no matter where I am.
Mm.
Right? I know who I am. I've known for a long time. As you can say, when we were younger, you guys are 19. At that time, I was looking at you guys.
You was a 40-year-old man. You was a 40-year-old man.
I was looking at you guys like, these kids don't understand what's going on here. Sport babies off.
So you mentioned knowing who you are and being who you are. I know that you're a proud father of 2 beautiful, intelligent girls, an incredible father. What are you teaching them in regards to being themselves, being comfortable in their own skin with the environments and the neighborhoods and the places? You share some of the incredible things that your daughters are doing and traveling and these different schools they go to. What kind of conversations are you having with them about being themselves in these environments?
So it's not a conversation about them being themselves. It's really the question of why they're doing what they're doing. I want to understand their why, right? Why did you do that? Why do you want to, Alex wanted to go to Cambridge this summer. She went to Cambridge for a summer thing, right? Okay, why do you want to do that? Well, because she wants to be an aeronautical engineer. Oh, cool. So this is the course and this is going to, okay, what's the next steps? All right. It's okay to be and think the way you want to think. It is. I want them to accept that. So I normalize that behavior.
Mm.
Questioning is, for me, is questioning why they're doing things, not how. Why are you doing this? So that they understand how to think, not what to think. And that's a big difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to say, okay, the way you think determines who you are. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah. How you
Right.
think determines who you are. So your perception you have of yourself, I want you to identify yourself as just being Alex or Charlie. Period. Hey, Charlie has curly hair. Alex's hair is not as curly. Charlie's blonde, blue-eyed, pale skin with freckles. Alex is not. Right? So it doesn't matter. They're sisters, and I'm dad, and that's mom. Period. That's all they see. Now, understanding that the world perceives them a certain way, be able to understand that that's the world's issue. That's something they're going to have to deal with, but that doesn't change who they are at the core of who they are. Who they are at the core of who they are, the summation of their thoughts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I got a few more questions as we start to wrap up. And this is almost indirect advice for our viewers so they can kind of take some of the information that you shared today and maybe replicate some of your success or at least go down the path that you went down. What book has been the most impactful to you during your career? What book have you read that you're like, man, this is great, and you've applied it and it's been the most impactful for you?
Wow. Just one book, huh?
Okay. I know that's tough for you. You're an avid reader. And you know what? I don't want to pigeonhole you to one book. If you want to name a couple or a few, feel free to go ahead.
So there are a few. I want to narrow them down. It's Your Ship. All right. Wow. It's Your Ship was amazing. That one is about a naval ship, a commander of a naval ship. And it's a somewhat dysfunctional ship. And what he did is he went and took over the command of the ship and went to each department head and tried to figure out what they needed. Right? Instead of micromanaging them, he gave them authority to do the things they need done and to help them accountable for what they said that they were going to do. And by the end of it, they went from being one of the worst ships to the best ships, and actually the best ship in the U.S. Navy. That's hard to do. And all he did was empower his people to think. Specificity, right? So they all specialize in what they do. He's like, they know how to do what they do better than I do because they do it all day, every day. And the manual is great, but in reality, that's something different. So what do you need in reality and why? Now that to me became a staple for me of how I operate and with my people. The other one, The Black Art of War. Hannibal's Night Truths. Boy, the strategy employed in that is true. Like Sun Tzu's The Art of War, very much similar, very similar. The history of knowing that this guy had the Roman Empire on their heels for years and actually beat them in war multiple times.
Wow.
Just by using different strategies. Yeah. I take a lot of those strategies and employ those in my life.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Great book recommendations. What career advice, if you could go back into a time machine and go back and talk to the 18-year-old David Porter, what career advice would you give to this 18-year-old kid just getting going and going to college? What advice would you have for him?
Career advice. One, it would be really stick to one thing that you love. Find that one thing that you love and pursue that. All right. Pursue it. And understand that this too shall pass. So find what you love and have that understanding. That's pretty much all you need to get going.
Awesome. One question I love to ask accomplished people just to get their thought process is, if you had to choose another career, if you had to do something else outside of real estate, what would you do?
Another career? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would probably just be an investor. Right? I would take money and invest in businesses and then go in and really turn those businesses around and make them profitable. Now, the systems, the processes, the mentality, it doesn't change from business to business, from industry to industry. It's the same. The different thing is how things are done. That's about it. So I would just be an investor if I were to change to do something else.
Okay. And so one of the foundations of this podcast is, one, we want to give more visuals on Black professionals and Black entrepreneurs. You happen to check both boxes, so thank you. And the purpose of giving those visuals is so we believe that if you can see it, you can be it. But another key part of what we want to do is we want to be a connector to those who are aspiring to be a Black professional or a Black entrepreneur. The question I have for you is, are you currently mentoring any young person? And if not, or even if you are, would you be open to mentoring others if they were to reach out to us via this platform?
Well, the answer to both is yes. I'm in the process of training another person to come on board. Always open to talking to young kids, all right, and about their life, about what I've done, how I've gotten to where I am, and how they can get here and hopefully skip a few steps, learning steps that I took, can help them avoid those pitfalls. So yeah, I'm open to that. That's fine.
Awesome. And so last question is whether they're a potential mentee or somebody who's looking to buy a home, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and get in contact with you and your brokerage?
Yeah, they can call the office, 312-313-1447. That is 312-313-1447, or email operations@portergroup.re.com. Yeah.
Awesome. David, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. This was amazing. I really believe that some of the tidbits, some of the gems that you shared will be beneficial to some of our viewers. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be on this podcast with us today.
Man, thank you. What you're doing is an amazing job, and I think it's definitely needed. We don't have a lot of platforms like this, so this is phenomenal. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Porter.